Hi guys, sorry for the delay. Myself and Herman were in calls earlier with some partners, with some of our major investors and new partners, trying to get things like that over the line. So that was quite productive. But unfortunately, I think Herman's still stuck in a call with one, so he won't be able to join. I'm going to ask him to give an update. Uh, some interesting things were happening in the project today. Over the past week. So he has had things to share, but unfortunately, business demands have him somewhere else at the moment. I'm going to give a kind of brief update because, I'm going to keep it brief for two reasons. The first reason is that, as I mentioned, Herman is going to be giving us a text update anyway, and that will address some of the questions that I've been given in DM over the past 2 days or so, which pertain to the core development effort. So Herman will address them in due time, probably later on today. I myself will also be hosting an extended kind of cherry office hour tomorrow, probably between 3 and 4 UTC. And we're going to discuss the marketing mix in more detail with you guys. We said that we were going to try and keep this venue, i.e. the Wednesday AMAs, to a more lean and to the point and straightforward format. So I'm not going to go into those details too much now anyway, because it's better if we just keep things moving along fairly fluidly, because some people really check into these AMAs just to get an overall view of what's going on and not hear us kind of going into too much detail about some of the finer points of what's going on in the project. So I'll save some of that discussion for tomorrow. However, I do have some business updates to share with you guys. I'm pretty sure you can see it on the screen at the moment, my AMA slides. So we have made communications with the investors. We were waiting to do that based on some internal development analyses that were ongoing. So that kind of delayed our newsletter for a couple of weeks, actually, unfortunately, but it's gone out. Now I'm going to prepare the community newsletter for general distribution, which will go out tomorrow morning. And that will be good reading for you guys. You'll hear about some stuff about what's going on with the project, maybe things you haven't heard of before. And it just gives a good pulse check and overall view of what's going on with us at the moment, and elaborates more about some of the strategy of where we see ourselves in the next weeks and in the next few months. Aside from that, as you saw, the validators were announced. That was pretty cool to share with you guys. It may seem somewhat business-like and formal, and maybe not as far-reaching, but it is very important that we have a stable and secure and solid network underpinning the Cherry chain itself. So that was good to have. We've been talking to the validator teams, and we'll probably try and set up an AMA situation with one or maybe even both at some point. I've also discussed with you guys that we have another partner that wants to share some of their thoughts with our community. It's good for them and it's good for us. And that partner will be on the AMA call, maybe I would guess maybe next week. So that should be pretty good. Aside from that, as I said, we're pushing forward with the marketing outreach increase. So that will involve a lot of different components in the marketing mix, but it will also involve some video, which I'm hoping that you guys can help me with tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is about 2 p.m. tomorrow, or let's say 1 p.m. tomorrow UTC, I'm going to drop some documents into the chat, and then you guys can kind of help me take a look over the documents that will outline what I'm thinking about discussing with you. And then we're actually going to run like a little poll in the chat, in the office hour group. I'll post a link to that later today. But we're just going to try and run things like a decentralized autonomous organization of sorts, where I'll ask questions and we can kind of hash out what the best route is forward. So you guys are essentially a very informed and specialized focus group, because we always get good feedback, we always get good input and ideas from you. For example, based on the last office hour, you guys were talking to us about improvements you'd like to see in our chats on Telegram. We've implemented those chats and actually hired moderators based on that. So, that's an example of how we like to implement the input that you guys give us wherever possible. That will happen at this time tomorrow. It'll probably go on for 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how quickly we get the work done. And then I'm hoping that I'll be able to show you the fruits of that labor by the end of next week. So let's say 10 days from now. As I said earlier, on to the next point. As I said earlier, we've been this week, the past few days, talking with increased vigor to some of our major investors, some of the institutional investors that hold a lot of sway and a lot of capital in the Cherry project. And that's pretty good. It's been going very well. They've been inquiring as to our release cycle, what we plan to do in the next while, and we've been explaining how, the wallets and explorers and the EVM functionality, how these things all fit together in our expansion plan, and how that how that release cycle in turn also mirrors the marketing activities that we'll be doing very soon. So to reiterate, and this is just to give you an idea of what we were discussing with our investors earlier today and yesterday and last week, is that we are looking to put as many pieces in place as possible so that people can use the Cherry chain and get their hands into the Cherry chain as much as possible before and alongside an increased marketing push, which I said would start this week, next week. We just have some couple of things to get over the line, and then you'll start to see a slow but steady uptick in things like business development and marketing presence. So that's quite enthusiastic to see. We have a fairly well designed plan. We don't really talk about the price, and we don't talk about the size of the community too much, because we are a tech focused project. But now that we've been spending so much time on building the product out, it is time to look to shoring up and solidifying and then expanding the support base of Cherry, which is something I know you guys obviously have a very strong motivation to see. So I think that basically means that this is going to be hopefully a good summer for investor sentiment in the project, because there will be a lot released. As I said before, it will be released in a very steady and planned way. So aside from that, what you can expect in terms of less marketing focus but still marketing related is that we will be launching the merch store on Friday afternoon. We will hopefully have screenshots and design previews or sneak peeks of the new website coming next week, and that'll all be something that we'll start to show you what we've been working on over the past couple of weeks. As I've said many times, the technical ingredients have been put into place. They're the hardest thing to do. We have the momentum, we have the expertise, and we have, most importantly, the capital for a bigger marketing push now. We haven't really been talking about marketing too much because we didn't want to get people's hopes up until it was ready. And we don't like to tell, to be too vague about what's coming. We like to just tell you guys what's happening when it's about to happen. So the marketing now is about to happen. So that's something to look forward to. It'll bring a breath of fresh air into the community as well. We'll have more people bringing their energy in and seeing the potential of Cherry. So that's something to look forward to also. So as I said, Herman will give his update later. I was hoping that he might be able to jump on the call at some point, but I think he's just too busy. He's still stuck talking to quite quite a big partner at the moment, so that's probably more of a higher priority, unfortunately, than talking to us. Anyway, so with regards to the quiz and quiz winners, there's still a good few people. I think it's going back 3 weeks since we've been giving out prizes, but I will try and get on that in the next few days. Sorry for the delay with that, guys, but I know who you are. You're all recorded as to who has won, so you'll get your money sooner or later. And thank you for participating in those prizes, or sorry, in those competitions, and thank you for winning. Well done. We're going to move on now. I'm going to finish up, and John is going to administer the quiz. We're going to announce the winners in the chat in about an hour, I would say. In the meantime, between now and when I speak to you next in the chat, if you have any questions, as always, you can let me know, and I'll try and get them answered as quick as possible. You can either answer in the chat itself, in the Spanish chat, or you can just send me a DM, and I always try and get around to this. Most people will have familiarity with the fact that I do try and answer pretty promptly when you have any personal questions. I always try and help out as much as I can, because this is a collective effort, as I've said before. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. John is going to take over, and good luck with the quiz. It's a pretty interesting quiz. I've had a look at the questions. A tricky one, but I think that most of you will have a good chance at doing well. Tomorrow, around this time, I'm going to schedule it in the chat when I just finally confirm with my scheduling. We can have a chat. We'll probably just do it in the Telegram chat again, but I'll share my screen, and we can talk about all the things that I want to get your input on, with regards to the video content we're bringing out, and with regards to the marketing mix that we intend to put out. Because I want to get your view as to what gives them the highest return on expenditure, because we try not to spend money superfluously. As you guys know, the Cherry Treasury is as much yours as it is ours, because the Cherry project is designed to be decentralized, etc. So if you guys can help me look for marketing channels that get the most bang for their buck tomorrow at 3 p.m. UTC, that would be much appreciated. In the meantime, for all of you who are taking part in the quiz, very best of luck. The winners will be announced later on, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye bye.